This is the real reason that confidence feels fake. It's not because you're ugly, it's because you have no proof. I'm an engineer in my 30s, but I was raised by a psychology expert. I didn't suddenly feel confident because I unlocked main character energy. I felt confident because I finally trusted myself. I quit a job that felt like jail. I left that toxic relationship and I rebuilt my life from rock bottom. I showed up again and again to build the life I claimed to desire. Confidence didn't come first, the evidence did. And then one day, I was standing in my dream apartment on my way to Pilates and I realized something. I was always enough. But my brain didn't actually believe that until I proved it. Your brain doesn't believe affirmations based on wishful thinking. It believes patterns. If you keep breaking promises to yourself, avoiding hard conversations, and tolerating the bare minimum, your brain will start to believe that you deserve breadcrumbs. When your brain expects to fail, confidence feels fake. But confidence isn't some personality trait, it's a skill you can learn. So start building. But here's the real reason confidence feels fake. People are relying on wishful thinking and affirmations to solve their problems. But then, deep down, they still don't believe in themselves. And that's because you can't brainwash your brain into believing you're confident. I mean, you can certainly try, but it's kind of a waste of effort. Confidence is built through repetition, not words. If a man kept telling you he loved you, but cheated on you every weekend, you wouldn't believe him. In the same way, if your words and your actions don't align, your brain will not believe them. And as you continuously show up for yourself, to prove to yourself that you can actually build the life you want, you build something called self-efficacy. A Stanford professor called Albert Bandura coined this term in the 1970s. Self-efficacy is your belief in your ability to execute. It is built through mastery, repetition, and evidence. It is a psychological term for what it means to feel competent. It is not magic crystals, it is not vibes, and it is not mirror affirmations. It's something you can strengthen every single day. Now, when people say they want to feel confident, a lot of times what they actually mean is they want to have more self-esteem. They want to have more self-worth. And these are actually two different topics. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, but confidence is what your brain believes you can handle. So confidence is built through the act of building self-efficacy. And that is actually a big difference because that means that confidence is your brain's belief in how competent you are. And competency grows as you build self-efficacy. The only way to feel more competent is to practice, to show up again and again and get 1% better every day. And over the course of 6 months, if you were to just get 1% better, you would be a completely different person in 6 months. Your brain is a prediction mechanism. If you keep telling it you're gonna start your diet on Monday and you never show up to do that, that is why confidence feels fake. But people think that motivation fails because they're just not strong enough. And I hate to break it to you, but you can't force yourself into a new life strictly based on willpower. People get so frustrated and they're always asking themselves, why can't I stay consistent? Why does my motivation never last? And it's because motivation is relying on your emotional state instead of your identity. Instead of forcing yourself into new habits, you have to update your self-concept. And if you're a really smart woman, it's gonna actually be even harder for you because you think because you have more brain cells that you could actually force your way into your new life faster. But just because you have a high IQ, that doesn't mean that you have more willpower and you can force your will on the world. So instead of working harder to force your goals into existence, why don't we try working more strategically? So this is the 5-step confidence blueprint I created so you could actually feel like her in 2026. Strategic step number 1, shrink the promise you make to yourself. Instead of making a resolution that you're gonna completely change everything in your life, start with something small. And as you accomplish smaller goals, your brain gets this extra motivation to continue working towards your future. Stop setting goals that feel dramatic and impressive to everyone else and set goals you can actually achieve. If you want to go to the gym every day, instead of telling yourself you have to go for 2 hours, tell yourself you just have to go for 5 minutes. And lowering the barrier to entry is one of the easiest things you can do if you want to get better habits in your life because you completely remove the resistance. And the second that you're in the doing of the thing, the whole process becomes easier. It is the ultimate hack to avoid procrastination. And step 2 is to stack the evidence. Instead of relying on the big wins, focus on the small actions that move you 1% closer to your dream girl every single day. In the process of building your dream life, actually record your wins. Remind your brain that it showed up to be the best version of yourself that day. I actually do this in my habit tracker. So a lot of people use planners to figure out what they want to do for the week, but I use it as positive reinforcement. Every time time I go to Pilates class, every time I read a new book, every time I learn a new recipe or do something that helps build my dream life, I record it in that diary and I get to see all of the great work I've put in over the course of the year. And if you're anything like me and you love positive reinforcement, you can, yes, give yourself a gold star every time you need a little positive affirmation. And step 4 is the key that finally made me feel like the magnetic woman I actually am. I learned how to regulate my nervous system. If you are constantly in survival mode, you cannot manifest your dream life. You will have a stress breakout and you will constantly feel on edge. If you want to feel cool, confident, and in control, you have to learn how to downregulate your nervous system, feel at ease and in peace with life. If you constantly are living in social anxiety, you will never feel confident, and you will actively push other people away if you're constantly needing their validation to feel whole. But regulating your nervous system is not just doing more yoga and meditation. The easiest way I have found to do this is to go touch grass. The next time you feel stressed, why don't you go for a little nature walk, actually enjoy the sunshine, or better yet, why don't you get 9 hours of sleep every night instead of subsisting on caffeine and cortisol? When your nervous system finally feels safe and relaxed, then you will radiate confidence, I promise you. And step 5 in the confidence blueprint is to act before you feel ready. And remember, confidence is the result of action, not the prerequisite. And the number one thing I always notice about women who radiate inner core confidence, they don't care what other people think of them. But if you still need to ask your council of friends what they think about your post before you put it online, you have a lot of work to do, because someone who feels confident is not waiting around to think about what other people think before she decides to do what she wants with her life. She is showing up as her authentic self unapologetically. But I've been there. Believe me, I have been the person who feels like they need everyone else's approval to live their life. But newsflash, you do not need permission from anyone else to create your dream life. You need to give yourself that inner authority and say, I can go out and do that. I don't need a permission slip. You don't stop caring about what people think just because you stopped caring. You stop caring when you finally care about your own judgment more than the comment section in the peanut gallery. But that self-trust only comes when you actually prove it to yourself. But when you've already built self-efficacy and you've built self-trust, that's when you get an identity upgrade. Not because you did some magical scripting in your journal. It's because you actually changed your embodiment in real life. You became confident by behaving like someone who is, because confidence is earned. I am a professional problem solver, and confidence is not an emotional problem. It is a structural problem. And I spent a lot of my 20s waiting around wishing that one day I would magically just feel confident. But that magnetic it girl energy didn't come until I had proof. Subscribe to this channel if you want the blueprint for the ultimate glow up. I wish I could tell my younger self that while I was waiting around for men to save me, the person I actually wanted to show up for me was myself. It is a blessing to have family, friends, and a partner who support you. But if you abandon yourself, you will never actually feel confident. And I know the internet likes to tell you that there's a quick fix for everything. But if you want core confidence that actually lasts, there isn't a shortcut to get there. If you see something online that seems too good to be true, it probably is. All of these hacks will not last. It will just feel like faking it. And you can fake it for a little while, but eventually your lies will catch up to you, because you can't run from yourself. If you're pretending to be confident, but inside you know you're bending yourself around every corner, that will eventually catch up to you. And that's why confidence feels fake, because you're lying to the person who matters most, yourself. What do we think of my nails today? They're so cute, right? I did little hearts for Valentine's Day. I'm really loving doing this get ready with me style as I talk about my existential topics. So do let me know in the comment section below if you enjoy this kind of vibe to our video setup. When I was little, I used to affectionately call my mom the happy hippie. She owns a psychology company called Whole Being Institute, and I would get so frustrated when she would give me these wisdom nuggets when I was little, because I thought they were just toxic positivity. But as I grew up, I realized all the lessons she was teaching me were actually trying to upgrade my self-concept. She was there every day, literally trying to rewire my brain to feel confident and empowered. This time last year, I was at rock bottom. I had just been diagnosed with depression. I was in a job that felt like jail, and I felt hopeless to change my life. One step at a time, I did what was required to build a life that brings me joy and makes me feel happy. And physically showing up for myself to say I'm worthy of a better life again and again and again was what gave me core confidence. Because I know I yap here on the internet. You assume everyone everyone you see online is just naturally confident and naturally okay showing up as themselves. But I promise you, I was not. When I started making videos, I was the most self-conscious person I have ever been. I would pick apart every single little flaw in my face and the way I talked and how I'd made the script and everything about the video because I didn't feel like enough. I didn't just magically feel like her because I did more mirror affirmations. Maybe they helped, but I felt more confident because I kept showing up again and again and again to build more videos, to get better, to become more confident and competent and grow in my own self-efficacy. And then one day I realized that I could just show up as myself on camera instead of being 100% scripted all the time. And then that's what would connect to you guys. And you would want to see me, and I could share lessons that help me actually become the best version of myself. And in the process, we could have so much fun doing my makeup together. How often does everyone wash their makeup brushes? Because I gotta tell you, it is the #1 self-care thing I forget to do. If you guys found this video helpful, please send it to your best friend who needs to feel more confident in 2026. The greatest act of self-love has nothing to do with sparkly princess presents. It's consistently showing up and saying, I deserve better, and showing your brain that you are actually worthy of a better life by choosing to build it every day.